July 5th, 1942. After each victorious advance, it is not surprising to witness the Axis High Command shuffling around its infantry forces. The goal of these rotations is to take away from the front lines the units that have endured the most and to bring forward fresh reserves. Additionally, I have to mention at least once here the overshadowed railway engineers and the pilots of the Luftwaffe transport wings, because unlike the infantry, these men never rested, nor they will ever rest. Every week, they either have to convert a section of the Soviet railways or constantly fly in air supplies to the newly conquered air bases respectively. I truly wonder how far could have the Germans pushed without their support. Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new weekly episode of War in the East 2. Another episode in which I would say nothing too exciting happens on the Eastern Front besides, yes, the Axis High Command redeploying and reshuffling its infantry forces around in preparation for the next push, which obviously will be aimed at the area in front of Stalingrad. I also would like to take, let's say, a couple of minutes to just discuss the logistics situation and the logistics in general for the 1942 campaign. Okay, this is not like the PBEM game I am carrying on against my friend, me playing as the Soviets, of course, but still against the impossible AI. There are some tips and tricks that you need to take care when preparing your offensive in 1942. The goal of 1942 will and should be to win the scenario by victory points, which is what I'm trying to do in this campaign, and which I am optimistically going to achieve. Of course, the 1942 campaign is a reflection of the 1941 campaign and of your management of the winter crisis. It is on one hand a logistical nightmare to resupply two whole panzer armies, and I mean two whole assault panzer armies mean that they have the 18 divisions, I think, in each, as well as two whole assault infantry armies, which again they have 18 divisions each, and if you do you can do the math by yourself, but you can imagine how many divisions there are concentrated, let's say, in this tiny area of the Don, which has almost no roads and nearly hardly any railway. Plus, of course, also I have the 5th Army deployed on the southernmost edge of the Don River. So again, more troops, more supplies, more freight that has to be delivered and carried forward. On the other hand, as I said in the introduction, I'm very lucky to have the precious air groups, the transport air groups, and five FBD units all operating in this very same area. Without these, honestly, I think it will be just a nightmare to keep all these mass of units of, let's say, fuel and ammunition and supply hungry units like the ones I have here in the Don area. And at the same time, I'm also happy to have a decent amount of vehicles, not only in the pool but also in the units. And from my understanding, playing around with the supply priority not only in the depots but also in the unit itself does affect how many vehicles will specific units receive at the end of the logistics phase. And it is not surprising if I tell you that the 1st and the 4th Panzer armies do have the supply priority of 4. In the 6th Army, the corps which will be on the offensive, which will generate the breakthrough, do also have supply priority of 4, unless I'm dreaming or I'm changing them while playing, and the same is true for the 17th army. Normally the 11th, I forgot about that. I forgot about the 11th army, but the 11th and the 5th armies do have a lower priority, and of course the Romanians, the Hungarians, and the Italians do have a priority of 1. Setting the priority supply priority to 0 does not mean that those units will not receive supplies, but they will receive the minimum amount of supplies if there is any freight left in the nearby depots. And so yes, having kind of preserved a little bit my vehicles pool throughout the harsh winter months is basically allowing me to literally fuel the logistics of this gigantic and titanic advance of Case Blue of the 1942 summer offensive. And with this, I would say, folks, I'm already at the end. There is literally nothing going on in this episode because as I said, I'm just moving around my infantry, bringing the infantry back in the second line to just to give my men some rest and refit and CPP regeneration and so on and so forth. And well, that's it. That's all for me from my side, folks. As always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I wish you all the best, and well, stay tuned not only for the next episode but also for the Soviet PBEM challenge.
Die goldene Morgensorge.